So yesterday I got to go hands-on with the brand new MacBook Air in sky blue, the Mac Studio, and some new iPad Airs. And I got to start with the MacBook Air because I think this is going to give the PC space a very tough time. The upgrades itself are not revolutionary. Like, you do get a brand new color. It's sky blue. It's an okay color. It's very, very muted, but depending on how the light reflects off of it, you do see a little bit of blue. The downfall to the sky blue color is that they're taking away space gray, but all the other colors remain in the lineup. The other little upgrade is the camera has been bumped up to be the same camera you'd find on the MacBook Pros. So you get center stage, it's 12 megapixels. It's obviously going to look and function a lot better. The third big upgrade is the chip inside of it. It's been bumped out from the M3 to the M4. We know exactly how the M4 performs already, and it's a nice little performance bump compared to the M3. If you feel like your M1 is starting to slow down, and I know for a lot of you it's not, this would be the one to upgrade to, but if you're still rocking an M2 or M3, you're probably good for the next few years. But to me, the biggest upgrade is the price drop. They dropped the price by $100 in the USA. So now the base model, which comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, starts at $999. And this is going to give the PC space a very tough time. Because let's think about it. What can you get for $999 in the PC world? Usually a bunch of Snapdragon laptops, like their 8-core models, not the Elite version, or maybe some of the Elite versions, but mostly the Plus models, which will give you great battery life. And if you look at the PC space, Lunar Lake chips are slightly expensive, so sometimes you get older chips that are the H series, which means you don't get as good battery life. But the biggest thing is there's always some sort of build quality that has to be sacrificed in order to get the price to be $999. So you might get a better OLED display compared to the one on the MacBook Air, but the chassis itself is not going to be as good. The keyboard might not be as good, and you're definitely not getting a haptic touchpad. Now, some of you are going to be like, Matt, 256 gigabytes of storage is just not enough for $999, and I feel you, but it's going to cost you $200. You'll go up to $1199, and then you'll get 512 gigabytes of storage. The second thing they announced was the Mac Studio, and look, there's no big design changes whatsoever. You still have the same amount of ports and port layout as you did before, but you can now get the new Mac Studio with M4 Max or the M3 Ultra. So two M3 Max chips fused together. Now, there are a couple of differences. If you buy the M4 Max version, only the back ports are Thunderbolt 5 and the front ports are just regular USB Type-C. If you buy the M3 Ultra version, the back are Thunderbolt 5, just like the M4 Max, but you also get the front two being Thunderbolt 5 as well. Now, they did bump up the base RAM on the entry-level model for the M4 Max, so it's now 36 gigabytes, which is really nice to see. And you have 80-core GPU with 32-core CPU for the M3 Ultra, so that's a little bit up from the M2 Ultra. I think that's 4 more GPU cores and about 8 more performance cores. But what really stood out to me, okay, was the fact that you can spec the M3 Ultra version with 512 gigabytes of RAM. Now, to me, this means nothing. I don't need 512 gigabytes of RAM. But if you're a developer or someone working with large language models, this is huge because you can buy a bunch of these, and assuming your company or corporation has the budget for it, stack them together and run models. But to me, it was crazy to see the entire DeepSeek language model loaded up into memory and functioning at 4-bit with a really good token per second output. And I think for a lot of people, that's going to be a selling point to buy this thing, because if you were to get 512 gigabytes of RAM, and I know I'm comparing this to the PC world, you can't do that with a regular PC CPU. Like, it's just not as easy. Like, you need some sort of server CPU with a server motherboard, which is more expensive. And then to get all of that RAM together, you're talking about a lot of money. And it's not unified memory either, right? Which is obviously going to be faster on this guy. And because you use specific programs to load these databases, you can utilize all 80 cores of the GPU. So very exciting times for AI. And the final announcement was the iPad Air. Nothing really to talk about there, but same size, same layout, same look. They're going to be introducing a newer version of the Magic Keyboard that's very similar to the ones for the Pros, except the deck of the keyboard is not metal, but you're going to have the function row and obviously the same sort of touchpad. The big update to that is it just comes with an M3 chip instead of an M2. I'm going to be reviewing as many of these things as I can, especially the Mac Studio. I'm mostly excited about this guy. So if you have any questions for my full review, please drop them below and I'll try to get them in my video so that you can see what these things can do. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.